class is back. No whiteboard. I'm just going to basically give you a little breakdown on perception. Basically, this is another side of my Perfectionism is a Problem series. So let's look at the main areas where perfectionism and perception come into play. Biggest one, social media. Now, here's the biggest thing that I've noticed with a lot of my students and a lot of my colleagues is basically people do things to appear a certain way. And what I mean by that is people are going to post something or they're going to share something, but it's something that's curated. So it's not like it's in the moment, right? That's why a lot of people will have like the filters or like the private profile, and then they might make it go public every here and there or only comment on certain things, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to give the perception of things are a certain way. And when you're trying to give that perception, you're ultimately performing. So that's another kind of like a performative trait, just where it goes to social media, right? If I come off a certain way, everyone's going to think everything is all well. I could be unemployed, I could be struggling, I could be having the worst day of my life, or I could be having the best day of my life. People will never really know because I'm performing or I'm acting in a character a certain way, or presenting something a certain way, right? Now, I'm not saying that you got to post all of your bad moments and everything, on a day-to-day basis, but what I'm saying is a lot of what I've seen, where I've seen students that are like literally having the worst time ever in class, but they're editing down this picture of them smiling on the beach, right? And I'm like, hey, you're not there right now, right? But they want a certain perception. They want things to look a certain way, right? That's basically how they hide behind that mask of perfection. Now, a lot of time what I see with people in their career is a lot of the time, again, it's the people that are like afraid to speak up, that have great ideas, but usually it's the perfectionism and the imposter syndrome that basically gets in their head and makes them feel like they're not qualified, right? So what they'll do is they'll be quiet and they'll agree when someone says it later on, or they might wait for somebody to bring it up to them, so they never have to break character, right? So again, when you hear the word character, again, it's perception, it's performing, it's being a certain way, right? So that's how I see it, like on a career side. I've seen people where I bring up to them, hey, what do you think on this? And they're super excited to chime in. I'm like, okay, but I had to pull that out of you, right? You could have just given that to me. But instead, you know that it's going to take you being vulnerable, and that's going to kind of put you out there to where you can get feedback that might trigger and, play on that perfectionism that you're trying to avoid breaking that character. So what I would say is ultimately, one thing that I've noticed with all of this is perfectionism and perception is all about, it's like you don't want to win, you want to perform like you're winning. So you don't want to actually experience the success, you want to look like you have the success. And that's where I see a lot of the problem. When people go through these type of things, basically that perfectionism is ultimately becoming their prison. So they can't be vulnerable and be themselves and get to enjoy and experience all the authenticity and the things they could normally, right? Because they're playing this character. So that's been one of my big headaches. Boom, I've been seeing since my time teaching in the college campus, teaching in the jail system, working in corporate America, being an entrepreneur, being in all these different rooms. I've seen like this perfectionism thing play across different characters. So per usual, I hope that it helps.